Hello friends, welcome to the session on civil service reforms. Let us start with two questions. What constitutes civil service and how important is civil service to public administration? Civil service refers to the body of government officials who are employed in civil occupations that are neither political nor judicial. The civil service is an integral part of administration. The structures of administration determine the way the civil service functions. A well-functioning civil service helps to foster good policy making, effective service delivery, accountability and responsibility utilizing public resources. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, the first Home Minister of the country, while speaking to the first batch of IAS officers, encapsulated the vision of a civil service for independent India. He said, "Your predecessors were brought up in traditions which kept them aloof from the common run of the people. It will be your bounden duty to treat the common man as your own." He referred to civil servants as the steel frame of India. While designing a successor civil service, the Indian political leaders chose to retain elements of the British structure of a unified administrative system, such as an open entry system based on academic achievements, elaborate training arrangements, permanency of tenure, important posts at union, state and district levels reserved for the civil service, and a regular graduated scale of pay with pension and other benefits, and a system of promotions and transfers based predominantly on seniority. In a parliamentary system, it is the political executive which determines policies and programs of government. The implementation and administration of these policies and programs is the responsibility of the large body of civil servants who, by virtue of their training and professional experience, are well versed in the actual functioning of government. There are some guiding principles that form the bedrock of civil services in the country. They may be outlined as empathy, efficiency, impartiality, and incorruptibility. The role of civil servants is not often acknowledged, but they are the ones who keep working in the background to ensure smooth functioning of public administration. Every year on April 21st, the public services rendered by these civil servants is celebrated in the form of Civil Service Day. Civil service reform cannot be seen in isolation, and it has to be undertaken along with administrative reforms for effective results. The purpose of reform is to reorient the civil services into a dynamic, efficient and accountable apparatus for public service delivery built on the ethos and values of integrity, impartiality and neutrality. The reform is to raise the quality of public services delivered to the citizens and enhance the capacity to carry out core government functions. What ailments afflict Indian civil service? Some of them include lack of professionalism and poor capacity building, inefficient incentive systems that do not appreciate upright and outstanding civil servants but reward the corrupt and the incompetent, outmoded rules and procedures that restrict the civil servant from performing effectively. It also includes systemic inconsistencies in promotion and empanelment, lack of adequate transparency and accountability procedures. That is, there is also no safety for whistleblowers. Arbitrary and whimsical transfers, that is, the insecurity in tenures, impedes institutionalization. There is also political interference and administrative acquiescence and there is gradual erosion in values and ethics. Finally, there is patrimonialism, that is, power is formally arbitrary and under the direct control of the ruler. Since independence, many commissions and committees have been appointed by Government of India which recommended different aspects of civil service reform. 6 major components of civil service reform could be identified. The first pertains to size and structure of government, that is, civil service efficiency vis-a-vis size is critical. The second component of civil service reform pertains to recruitment. The recruitment examination for Indian civil services is of course one of the rigorous examination across the world. With rapidly advancing technology and high degrees of specialization in every field, the country can no longer afford to put journalists in positions requiring specialized skills. The third relates to capacity building and human resources development. There are 2 aspects to this: reforming and restructuring human resource management, strengthening meritocracy in promotion. The fourth component of reform concerns performance and promotion. This is relating to reforming the annual confidential report process. Another aspect is civil service performance systems. The fifth component of reform pertains to professionalism and modernity. Professional skills of officers may relate to 3 functional categories: implementation, program or project preparation, and policy formulation. Modernity pertains to reforms and the way the civil service is able to deal with changes in e-governance. The sixth component of reform relates to civil service accountability, which includes strengthening and streamlining reporting mechanisms, fast tracking departmental inquiries, linking performance with incentives, overhaul of employee grievance procedures, appropriate action on audit findings. What has been the second Administrative Reforms Commission's approach to the key principles of civil services reform? Firstly, it talks about setting right the asymmetry of power. Secondly, it is insulating civil servants from undue political interference. Third is the professionalization with stability of tenure and competition. The fourth relates to citizen-centric administration. Fifth is about accountability. The sixth is outcome orientation. And finally, the seventh is promoting public service values and ethics. Reform should aim at developing attributes of a good administrator in a civil servant. What is required for civil service reform? Political support and will, management capacity to implement reforms, nurturing support from civil servants themselves, safety nets must be in place for people adversely affected. The reforms must reflect the political and institutional environment of a country, and there is a need for developing communication among all the stakeholders. It is pertinent to recall the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi's mantra, reform, perform, transform, while addressing the civil servants on Civil Service Day in April 2017. He said that with changing times, a need may arise that we may have to change our working style. From regulator, we need to be an enabling entity. With quantum jump in work must also come a qualitative change. The push for reform comes from political leadership, but the perform angle is determined by officers. There is a need for a spirit of ownership. and hierarchy remains an issue. This is something we inherited from colonial rules and we did not leave that behind in Mussoorie. To conclude, civil servants need to engage with people and look at new ways of achieving objectives in the interest of people to become agents of change. Thank you.